today leading the charge, pioneering corporate ESG practices, couldn't be more timely. At OICCI, and maybe just a little bit of a recap, we represent over 200 multinational companies operating in Pakistan, responsible for about a third of the country's tax revenue. And more importantly, we are collectively working towards a sustainable business leadership. Over the past 3 years, the Pakistan Climate Conference, which has been organized by the OICCI in 2023, 24, and also 25, has helped build the momentum around the climate action and ESG in the private sector. And PICG has been a very keen supporter there, and we do thank them for that. Today, I want to share the business case for ESG through the lens of the multinational companies operating here, because we are not just part of the economy, we are obviously key to its resilience. So the first topic is really why ESG matters in Pakistan. And obviously, I think it has been mentioned on several occasions. Pakistan is at the forefront of climate change. We're one of the top 10 countries most vulnerable to climatic shocks. And our cities are facing pollution, farms are facing water scarcity, and the electrical grid faces chronic energy disruptions. So when we talk about ESG in Pakistan, we're not just talking about global frameworks, we're talking about business continuity, reputational integrity, and competitive survival. This is where foreign investors play a unique role. OICCI members don't just bring capital, we bring accountability, standards, and sustainable innovation that can be localized and scaled. So when we look at the business case, I think there are 5 key points that I want to talk about. And I'm going to be talking about those points, but also bringing examples of what OICCI members companies have done right here in Pakistan. So the first one is obviously ESG drives revenue and growth. Sustainability adds brand value and strengthens customer loyalty. In the case of Unilever Pakistan, their sustainable living brands like Lifebuoy and Surf Excel continue to outperform the other brands, proving that consumers are rewarding purpose. The second one is ESG reduces risks and builds resilience. From climate disasters to resource volatility, ESG practices reduce exposure to shocks. We look at an example from Dorlands. Dorlands has embedded circularity, energy efficiency, and water stewardship across its operations. It's integrated 30% recycled plastic into product components and uses 100% recycled cartons and egg trays, and recycles 100% of production waste through third-party partners, achieving zero waste to landfill. In 2024 alone, over 2,000 tons of plastic was recycled, saving nearly 7,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide. And also give another case of Wafi Energy, or as it used to be known as Shell, built Karachi's first plastic road of 2.5 tons of recycled plastic bottles, and launched youth circular economy startups promoting zero waste and urban solutions. The third one is ESG improves energy security. And here we're going to really talk about the solar success stories. And I think solar energy in Pakistan has really been, I think, one of the world leading examples of how to transform to solar energy in a super quick time. So this is where multinationals are really leading the charge by switching to solar energy to reduce emissions and overcome grid instability. In 2024, Nestle Pakistan inaugurated a 2.6 megawatt solar plant at its Sheikhupura factory that will reduce around 1,300 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent of greenhouse gas emissions every year. Another remarkable achievement was the successful installation of the biomass boiler at its Kabirwala factory, which caters to approximately 80,000 tons of steam consumption every year. This biomass boiler will also result in a reduction of about 11,000 tons of CO2 equivalent greenhouse gas emissions. Herx invested 82 million in solar and energy efficiency partnerships. Ochroma, another example, actively measures its greenhouse gas emissions across scope 1 and 2. 2 sites are working closely to install renewable energy through its scheduled 1,000 kilowatt solar PV system, expected to supply around 20% total energy and reduce CO2 emissions. Again, Unilever Pakistan has developed a robust climate action transition plan targeting 100% renewable energy and enhance energy efficiency across its operations. Since 2015, it has achieved a 93% reduction in Scope 1 and 2 emissions, with 91% of total energy now sourced from renewables. These are not small gestures. These are business decisions driven by cost efficiency, operational reliability, and climate commitment. The fourth lever is ESG unlocks capital and investor confidence. Mizan Bank played a strategic role in supporting the government of Pakistan's launch of its first green sukuk worth 30 billion, marking a major milestone in sustainable and Sharia-compliant public financing. Standard Chartered Pakistan mobilized 105 billion in sustainable finance, including Pakistan's first 500 million green bond, to fund renewable energy and climate resilience projects. Mobilink Microfinance Bank dispersed nearly 1.8 billion rupees in solar loans to underserved communities, promoting green jobs and low-emission livelihoods. Coca-Cola Export Corporation partnered with WWF Pakistan, Care International and the Green Climate Fund on the 78 million Recharge Pakistan program, building climate resilience for 680,000 people through nature-based solutions. The fifth one, and also very important, ESG attracts and retains talent. Gen Z and millennials want to work for companies that stand for something. And here, Telenor Pakistan has diversity and inclusion embedded in its culture through its Women in Tech and accessibility programs. It's not just an HR initiative, it's an ESG differentiator that attracts top talents and builds long-term loyalty. So, if we look at it from the ORCCI perspective, our goal is to define stakeholder capitalism in action. ORCCI members are not merely participants, they are setting the pace. By mobilizing capital, technology, and global best practice, we advance inclusive growth across Pakistan. We craft a narrative of business success that merges profit, purpose, and people. In doing so, we set a standard for sustainable investment in emerging economies. Just recently, the ORCCI released its Corporate Social Responsibility Report, which speaks volumes to this. In 2024 alone, 14 billion rupees were contributed by ORCCI member companies. Over 45 million people were impacted through member companies and the work that they did. With partnerships spanning over 280 social sector organizations, ORCCI members have amplified their CSR initiatives to create a meaningful and widespread impact across Pakistan. Dozens of firms, including those that I've mentioned already, are already setting science-based targets, publishing ESG reports, and embedding ESG into their supply chains. Our message is clear. ESG is no longer a side project, it is core to corporate strategy. ORCCI realizes that we cannot do it alone, and we're working with regulators like the SCCP, the Ministry of Climate Change, to ensure that ESG disclosures become streamlined, relevant, and practical for Pakistan's operating environment. And this is really now a call to action. Here's what we must do next. We need to make ESG leadership intentional, not just compliance-driven, but innovation-driven. We need to collaborate across sectors between multinationals, local partners, regulators, as well as communities. And we need to invest in real change. Energy transitions, inclusive supply chains, and nature-based solutions. We need to move from policy to practice, from awareness to accountability, and from promises to performance. So in conclusion, let me say this. Multinationals in Pakistan have proven that they can lead. We've seen it in solar power, in climate resilience, and inclusive growth. Through the ORCCI platform, we're scaling this leadership because for us, ESG isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smartest way to operate in Pakistan and globally. We're not just adapting to ESG, we're leading the charge. Thank you very much indeed.